What's up, guys? BJ the Brave here, bringing you a meta snapshot update for Warhammer 40k Warpforge. So, guys, we are in. Well, we've just finished the raid actually for the Adeptus Sororitas, aka Sisters of Battle, and oh my god, has this raid completely destroyed the meta. It has turned the game upside down. So, without further ado, let's talk about how. Now, very quickly, for those who are perhaps new here for the first time, we're going to look at 3 tiers. What I'm not doing is just dumping every single warlord in the game. I'm really focusing on the warlords that you're going to see on ladder, the ones that are kind of being played most and dominating and doing the best. What I'm going to do is kind of like show you the 3 tiers, and then I'm probably going to share with you some deck list ideas as well around that kind of archetypes that we're talking about, so you can go ahead and try those out. If you like that, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Alright, boys and girls, let's take a look at the tier list. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is tier 3 as of the 28th of November. I think that the decks to focus on here are Uriel, Swarmlord, and Denkler. Now, you could argue that the other Imperial Guard, what's her name, is also potentially in here. Personally, I think the Denkler deck is still the more reliable. It's the warlord that enables duty, and it enables a very powerful kind of all-in on siege warfare, which we shared previously, and we can show you again today. Swarmlord is still very powerful. Did receive a few nerfs to some of his key units in the stealth approach at the end of the last balance patch. However, Swarmlord is still Swarmlord, and the key ingredients are still there. Mainly the fact that he has the big 3 melee attack really helps right now, where you've got all these sisters and kind of 3 health Astra Militarum units and all that sort of stuff. So Swarmlord does really well at just removing those without costing you any additional energy. And Uriel is in here because Uriel is actually a very good prey deck right now in the meta. What I mean by a prey deck is, if we were just comparing Space Marine builds and warlords, then Uriel perhaps wouldn't be the best one. But when you look at what the meta is, you've got to ask which warlords perform best against those warlords. So, for example, where you've got something like Titus, you could argue, well, that does blast 2 every turn for the same cost that Ventress's Master of the Fleet. However, if Titus gets stunned, because there's spoiler alert, we're in a bit of a stun meta right now, then that's useless and can't do anything, whereas Uriel's ability can still do something if the warlord is stunned. So Uriel is pretty good, and specifically pretty good at disrupting Sisters. If you don't believe me, go back and watch when Sisters of Battle first came out, and I remember I was live streaming trying to test out the new prey mechanics, and I literally played against like 7 Uriel decks in a row, and I was so frustrated because I don't think I prayed once. So Uriel's really good at disrupting multiple preying units, getting around vanguards to do that, etc. And I've been able to post a 3k score without really putting too much, doing that over a few nights, like not putting too much effort in, to be honest. So I think Uriel is worthy of a tier 3 slot in this particular meta. Alright, so let's take a look at Uriel, Swarmlord, and Commissar decks then. Alright, so Uriel, there are a couple of different versions that you can go with. I have posted a video deck guide. If you want more in depth, go and check out that video. It's on my channel. This is kind of like where I'm currently at. I actually, let me just check actually, there is one thing that so the one change into this list, which I kind of keep swapping between and I'm not entirely sure on, is the second Storm Raven. The second Storm Raven you could drop. One of the things that I've been liking is just running a single copy of the 2-drop flanker, and I think that works really nicely, and I think that's the deck, that's the version I've played the most, to be honest. I just very recently put the second Raven in. I just wanted to test it because I think this sort of go wide disruption rather than clearance is very good right now. And obviously Storm Raven has always been very good with Uriel, because combined with Master of the Fleet, you can be dealing 3 damage to things on AoE. So that's one for you to test, but overall this shell is very good. It's very low to the ground. It enables you to play Uriel's ability quite often. It enables you to manage your energy really well to trigger codexes, and even finally Tactical Insight. I've been having some really great value playing this with things like Cassius to create some serious burn, or if I'm running low on cards, you can play it with Librarian to get draw, or you can build a board with Chaplain. So I think actually Tactical Insight, I was really sad in the way that Insight got nerfed, but it's definitely much better now that I've kind of got to grips with it in this deck. Guys, this is also a very fun deck for me because this is what I would consider to be a true aggro deck. Warpforge weirdly doesn't have many true aggro decks. It has aggro, it has decks that obviously are more of a beatdown than other decks, but it tends to do it through just sort of tempo board building, whereas this is a true aggro deck, and that's why I call it a burn deck. You will dominate the board early, and then you will probably lose the board towards the end of the game, but you'll have enough burn, in other words direct damage to face, to be able to win the game. So it's a true aggro deck, and I'm really happy that this is back in the meta and such a good prey deck right now. I've got a very good win rate against Junith with this one. Okay, next up we have the Swarm Lord. I'm going to show you my big boss deck. If you've not seen, again, I have a guide that is out for this. That came out, I think, a few days ago. So go and check that out again for more ideas. The one change I've made here, which is just, again, not something I've tested hugely, but I want to test, is I've put a copy of Bounding Leap in, because I actually think, again, having Bounding Leap is a card, it's a tech card, and it comes in and out of metas, and I think right now, in the current meta, I think Bounding Leap's good. Me and Sugarmamail were actually talking about whether we think Turvigon could be a tier 3 prey deck to Sisters. Traditionally, it was a really good prey deck against Sisters, but we tested it, and the answer is it's not anymore. So, but actually having a copy in the Swarm Lord, I think, could work quite well. This is a bit different to the stealth deck. As I talk about in the guide, it's much more of a kind of old school board building deck. I'm a really big fan of the Harpies as well. I think these cards are insanely good value. They're really good bodies themselves, with the 8 health and the flying, and the which usually forces your opponent to trade into the 7. And every time they attack, even if they're not attacking the Harpy, you deploy a Spore Mine, so it really swings tempo. I think this is a really good deck. It's got loads to carry into the late game, but it can finish most games without even needing to rely on the Harpies and Hive Tyrant. So, you know, take it for what it is. But I think this is a fun way to build Swarm Lord, and pretty powerful as well. And then the last one that we had was the Denkler. This is the Denkler deck. Nothing's really changed since you've probably seen this 1,000 times on my channel. I think this is really powerful. Tagiel got to, I think he was the highest ranking guard player with this last season. And the Siege Warfare trick still hurts even Sisters. Like, if they don't have the answers, like, they can have the answers, but if they don't have the answers, like, it can just overwhelm them, including other warlords, very quickly, and just win the game. So it's still got that kind of shock factor to the end game. Really powerful. Making use of the duty as well. This is a deck that you know, you can actually play things like Flame Troopers, and great for this meta, right? Like disrupting the all the praise and the kind of low to ground go wide units and stuff. So yeah, really like this. You want to be making good use of the Sergeant, getting extra shock troopers, and or flanking with a Primary Psycho. I mean, this guy coming on at 5, doing 5 damage flank with a shield is a really potent move as well. So this is a really good deck. Definitely check this one out. So that's tier 3, guys. Alrighty, so now let's look at tier 2. And in tier 2, we've got, first of all, Abaddon the Despoiler. I have done these left to right, so I've tried to do it that the ones on the left are more powerful than the ones on the right, but only slightly. They're still in the tier, and that's just more my personal opinion. Let me know in the comments if you kind of disagree with any of the order, because that's one of the fun things of the tier list. I always enjoy interacting with the comments. And again, guys, don't forget to hit that like button if you're enjoying this. Alright, so Abaddon the Despoiler. I think Abaddon, yet again, is a really good boogeyman. If you don't want to go down the Uriel route, I think you can go down an Abaddon route to be a prey deck right now. Now you have to build Abaddon in a specific way for him to be that prey deck, and we're going to show you an example of that shortly. But I think Abaddon could be stealing a lot of games right now, and if you're fed up of Sisters, it could be really good. The downside of Abaddon is that he does suffer against stun. So I do think that Jane Zar and things like Erica can be a real problem for Abaddon if you let them get their prey. their faith points up, because then if Abaddon's stunned, then he can't do what he needs to do, which is essentially one turn kill the opponent. Now, there are two ways you can one-turn kill. One of them requires Abaddon, one of them is more about bodies. And to be honest, I actually haven't built the bodies version, but it's probably better because of the anti-stun. So we'll talk about that when I show you the deck list. Warboss Gordrang got a massive buff this season, there's no doubt about it. Healing every time he plays his use chopper ability for every enemy troop is huge. Absolutely huge. It means he can go bash every turn and not kind of run out of health. Orkz already have access to really good healing for some reason. Maybe it's like generate some sort of regen idea. I'm not sure from a lore perspective, but Gordrang is blooming tough now. Like, he's got all the great removal tools, and people are still playing the mucking abouts and the Willow Gorks. But what he can do is put a serious beat down on the opponent. Obviously, he has great synergy with Makari, with Huge Chopper, with proper Killy. I mean, War Bikers. I mean, this guy can burst you down from like 18 health easily. So Warboss Gordrang is very, very powerful right now. And the other one we got is Jane Zar. Jane Zar did take a nerf. She was completely broken at the start of the season, and they did just nerf the stun ability to only deal 1 damage instead of 2. But you've got to think, guys, like, fundamentally what made Jane Zar really powerful was when they changed it so that she just stunned, her ability stunned and did damage. So yeah, it's a little bit slower than it was. It can't quite beat down as fast, but it's still pretty good, and it's very, very disruptive. Stun is very powerful in this meta right now. You know, if you're stunning Swarmlord, if you're stunning Abaddon, if you're stunning Warboss Gordrang, you can't swing with Huge Chopper. That's a very, very powerful ability, and it's also very powerful against Sisters, because if you stun the Warlord, then they can't pray. And if they can't pray, then they can't generate faith, and then they can't do all the nastiness to you. So Jane Zar is also very, very good. So let's take a look at what Abaddon, Gordrang, and Jane looks like. So look, guys, I actually this is an Abaddon deck, right? And I actually think that we should build this a little bit differently. This is very good. The problem with this is if you're going to lose to Erica and you're going to lose to Jane Zar at times, because they're going to be able to stun Abaddon, and that means that Abaddon can't do his big Sword of Drachnaean with Murderous Desires and Legacy of Vengeance. What I would probably do if we I'll just show you quickly. I don't generally build decks like live on the thing, but if I was gonna really adapt it to the stun meta, what I would actually probably do is drop the Legacy of Vengeances, okay, and I would focus a little bit more on how do we build. So we want Demonic Frenzies instead, and then we probably want to put in the thing that gives us stealth, wherever that's gone. I think it's a 3-drop, right? Is it not? Yeah, Skeins of Fate, right? Because then you can hide a troop, so that means you can get more dark packs on it. And you know what? You might even would you even? That might be taking it too far. I was going to suggest, like, maybe you'd even consider putting what's the 3-drop? Something like the Gifts of Chaos, where you put 2 dark packs on something. I think that's probably overkill. I think something like this looks really nice, guys. So I would actually say this is probably the way to play. And what you're really looking to do is you're actually looking to win the game by double attacking with a unit rather than double attacking with your Abaddon. You've still got some nice options in there where you don't get stunned by putting Drachnaeon. Don't forget you can put Drachnaeon on a unit though, right? So you can stick that on a Venom Crawler. Might even be worth running a single 7-drop, what's it called? So bad with the name still. I should know this, guys. Been playing a year now. The Hellbrute. Might even be worth sticking a Hellbrute in there. Potentially you could do that. You could drop one Chosen or you could drop one of the Veteran Legionary. By the way, the reason why I'm running Veteran Legionary and not the Noise Marines is because, again, of stun meta. So there will be situations where your Warlord gets stunned and your Noise Marine therefore comes out as a 1-2 because you're not able to trigger the damage on your Warlord, and that's catastrophe. So what I'd rather do is guarantee the stats, the 1 ping stats, and go with the Vet Legionary instead. It also gives me a nice bit of Vanguard. Alright, so that is what I'll be doing with Abaddon. I think that could be a really good one for you guys to go and try right now and could be pretty potent. So next up on the level 2 we had the Gordrang list. So this is a list that was inspired by Mortar, who is by far and away like just completely killing it on the Orkz right now. So if you look at the individual things, then you've got Mortars like, oh, he's been overtaken by X-Limber. All right, so but it's again 3,500. That's a really solid score. Now the thing about this deck is he did score a lot of that before the Sisters kind of went wild. So that's definitely something to consider. But his deck's kind of interesting. It's not really my playstyle with Orkz, so I've not done great because I play Orkz very negatively. Like I play them very defensively, and this is a slightly weird kind of approach because it's much more aggressive, and you've got tools like the attack squig and the bomb squigs in there to like really keep the pressure on, and I think a lot of it's about timing with these units, and I've not quite got that down. But this is like, it's still got the shell, right? It's still got really powerful shell of the proper killer. I like the Paramaniacs in this meta actually. Just remember the blast doesn't the blast with Iron Gob doesn't work anymore. You can't concuss the 3 units, you'll only concuss the middle unit, but that's just something that catches a lot of people out. Warbikers, of course, so the usual shell, right, with the Scorcher Assault, and then the heal, right, with the Scarboy. You want to be looking for that in your opening mulligan, and of course the ultimate 6-drop flankers in the Squig Buggy and the Stormboy, and then the Willow Gorks to finish. So a lower to the ground, more aggressive version of Wardrang, and guys, you know, this is capable of posting a 3.5k score, so it's a top deck. All right, next up we had what else did we have? Oh, Janezar, yes. So, Janezar. Guys, I've done a full video guide for this deck. Go and check that out. Again, I'm not going to go into full detail. I have made a couple of changes. I've actually added a Storm Guard in. Guys, the 1-drops are really good in this deck. I can't stress that to you enough. Why are they really good? Well, because they've only got 2 health, the problem usually is that they never get to attack. The stats are kind of busted when they do get to attack, but they never get to attack because the Warlord will clear them out, leaving you a stun, so they've never been bad, but the difference in this deck is that you can play it with a stun, so you can stun the enemy Warlord and drop these, and then the value that you're getting is insane. I'm actually tempted to put a 4th Storm, another one in, to be honest. It is a slight update on that deck list, but the same kind of idea that I did in the guide. So that for me is what I think Stunlock looks like. You can run double Hornet, you can drop the Hornets and run double Crimson Hunters. You could even drop Urilla. A lot of the games don't even go that far, but I like having the Urilla as a kind of like an alternative win con in the later game. I think Warp Spider is very powerful in this deck for carrying you through as well. And I've added in an evasive maneuver just for the just to kind of like stop Erica and enemy Eldars from blasting you down at the end game because they can't target if you put that on. All right, so that is my Stunlock deck, and let's talk now about Tier 1. Now, guys, the first thing we should say about Tier 1 is that the Sisters card pool is Tier 1, right? You could arguably put the other 2 Warlords in here as well. I'd probably say Morven's probably somewhere like Tier 2 at the minute. And the new Warlord, I don't know because I've not played her. But I think she's like way less powerful than Erica, the new one. But she's probably arguably still in Tier 3 just because the Sisters card pool, guys. The Sisters card pool, the Adeptus Sororitas card pool is insane right now. It's the hardest faction to balance because of they've got very interesting mechanics, but they're also very frustrating because it's a nightmare to balance them. And I think the approach that EG have taken is they're kind of like they're having to overcompensate and dial up power because the core mechanics kind of don't work. They're a great idea, but like the concept hasn't fully landed. Just like duty hasn't fully landed for Adepta Mechanicum outside of having Denkler. There is no Denkler Warlord in Sisters that enables the mechanic like Denkler enables Prey. And I would say it hurts Sisters more because the rest of the faction is built around the Prey, whereas with Duty you can build Imperial Guard decks that aren't kind of based around that. Sorry if that rant confused you. If you've been playing the game a while, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Anyway, back to Tier 1. Ultimately, guys, I would say this is in order. I would say Junith right now is a Tier 1 powerhouse. Junith has been tier 1, to be fair, for a couple of seasons, but she just got even better. She is very, very powerful right now. She got some great new tools in the new Rhino, for example. I think the new Rhino, adding to that sort of go wide, the sister of the Rose and all that sort of stuff. My God. She is, she's so powerful. I do think that, you know, some of the kind of counter players we've talked about, like Abaddon and Uriel, can kind of cause Junith a little bit of problems. I've had some really epic games actually with Uriel against Junith that I've come through and won. So I might do a separate video just on Uriel beating up Sisters. Let me know in the comments if you want to see that. If I've still got those games on my thing. Anyway, I do think Junith is super powerful. But guys, I really want to talk about Erica because Erica is S tier right now. Now, I'm very, 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 very careful about making these types of statements about S tier. That's why I just have 3 tiers. I don't generally have an S tier because I think S tier should be reserved for like decks that are basically breaking the game. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think Erica has broken the game. I think Erica has broken the game. Guys, the last 2 nights I've played on ladder, and I swear to God, 97% of my games were like against Erica. Like, it's been insane. Everyone's playing Erica. It's boring as hell, and I don't like it. And especially I don't like it because I was traditionally a real like Erica player when she was terrible, when she was massively underpowered. I was like trying to make Erica work. I've done multiple deck guides on her. Really loved her kind of like archetype, but she's just broken with these new cards and this balance. And the big thing is that she now gets stunned for 5. The problem is, guys, is her ability is really good at 3. It's always been good at 3, and I don't think that should change. Adding the stun at 5 has added a whole new layer to Erica's power. As I said, stunning is very, very powerful, and this is, make no mistake, this is the stun meta. We've never had a stun meta before, and Erica is just killing it right now. I think she's above Junith. I've put her to the left here to show that she is slightly better than Junith, but she is honestly S tier. I think there are some counters to Junith. Like I said, I think you can do okay against Junith with Swarm Lord, with Uriel, with Denkler, with Abaddon. You know, there's things you can do. It'll be hard, don't get me wrong, but Erica she's insane. Like, when I look at my Uriel record against Junith versus against Erica, I've got like a really good win rate against Junith with Uriel, whereas with Erica it's like way closer. The top Erica players still beat Uriel, and you know, if they're not like necessarily a top player, then I can win that. So it's probably around 50-50. It's a lot closer. It's still competitive with Erica, which is saying something, guys, because this meta is broken. There are so many warlords that cannot compete. Like I said, Tervigon used to be a great counter to Sisters. Tervigon can't compete. Some of these new cards are busted, and the Rhino, I would say the Rhino and the stun ability of Erica are 2 of the culprits. Now, I don't want to turn this into how to fix the broken meta video, because this is just a meta snapshot. But I do think that the stun idea is nice on Erica, but it needs to go way up. I mean, if the new Warlord requires 8 to start getting the permanent buff, then the stun should require something close to that. I'd like to see it go up from 5 to 8. To be honest, with Erica, unless they're going to nerf other cards. So it's always difficult talking about balance in isolation because you don't know what nerfs are going to come in other cards. Like if they go ahead and nerf the Rhino and nerf this and nerf that, then maybe the stun thing will make more sense. But in this current combination, this current sister salad that we've got, everything's too good. The tomatoes are too good, the cucumber's too good, the lettuce is too good, the mayonnaise is too good. Oh, it's just too good. So we got to see what they fiddle, what they change. Before we kind of can kind of say like exactly what that should be. But right now Erica is S tier, and I am telling you, man, it is busted. The last S tier deck we had was probably the ultramarine deck with the broken predator, for reference. Right, let's look at the decks. I'm not going to do Junith because I've done Junith to death, and go and look at my deck guides and stuff if you want to see that. Slap some rhinos in there, you'll be fine. Let's take a look at Erica. So I've just done an Erica. I've done a couple of Erica decks. There's so many ways you can build it, guys. You could do something like this. You could do something like this. It's very similar. There's some things I don't have all the cards because we're still at the end of the raid. So one of the things, for example, with this, I'll probably drop one Celestin Secretant to put in the second Rhino. I really love the Sacred Rose card. I think this card is brilliant. But I do think that one of them is probably okay, to be honest, because it just guarantees that you've got more chance to get the 3 faith before you use it. The Miraculous Feat is just that's probably a card that needs a bit of work. I don't know. Maybe that should be 4 at least, if not 5 again. It's so powerful. It's a hard one though because it kind of just, I don't know. It's a difficult one. It's a difficult one. Guys, you can go double flagellants. You can put in even put in the engines for the anti-sisters if you really wanted to, right? If you just want to go and play right now against sisters, there's a very good argument to say that you should be running mortifiers, or a Mort 1 copy, just to mess with the mirror match. Quite frankly, it's probably a good idea. Oop. There we go. I'll test it. But yeah, guys, you can't go wrong. I feel like you could throw 30 cards together. You could do a more tempo base and drop some of the late game stuff. You could run with the double Rhino. Actually, what's the card that gives the stratagem that gives us +2 for a massive finish? If you wanted to do it that way, you could do that. That would probably be very powerful right now in this meta. I'm trying to think what it's called. Fiery Conviction, right? Yeah, +3, right? If you got the 5 faith, give him +3. Oh my god, this thing on Junith right now would be insane. Pretty good on Erica too. I mean, I haven't even got the 2-drop in here. This is how busted this deck is. I haven't even got this card. This card is one of the most busted cards in the game, and it doesn't even make it into the deck in the Erica version. So guys, like I say, this is tier 1. I don't think you can go wrong with Erica right now. If you want to go and see my deck guide, go check that out. I know Ecclesiarch's done one as well. I mean, I'm at 3,100 with this in, like, I basically do it with my eyes shut. It's stupidly broken right now. If you're not winning with this deck, I don't know what's happening. So yeah, if you just want to go and ladder and crush, play this. However, bear in mind that most of the games you play will be mirror matches, because that's all anybody's playing. Guys, that is the tier list for the 28th of November. There we go. In all its glory. Let me know in the comments if I've missed anything, if you disagree with any of this. Definitely arguments that you could put, like Zephyr or what's his name? Anvir, for example, in the tier 3. But I do think it's a stun meta. I do think Jane Zaz's better right now in this particular meta. So that's my tier list for the 28th of November. Like and subscribe, guys. Share this video with all your friends, and appreciate all the support. And I'll see you guys in the next one.